All right. Well, as I was saying, the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival this summer we celebrated our 12th season, which is just so wonderful for me to just think about how 12 years we've been rolling along. Like I said, we did have to cancel a couple of five actually of our live programs across Northern California. And so we had some unfinished business with some of this music, especially. And so we got together to do this live stream to play some of this music for you. Before we did that, since we just returned from the festival, I thought it would be nice to just show a little bit of, a few photos from the festival, just so that everyone else could sort of get an inside look at what we were experiencing there. So here I will turn to my little Photos app here and allow me to introduce you to the view. This is the view from our retreat spot in Palm, California. This is where the festival was born, on our dear friend Ellen McGee on her back porch looking over the valley of Palm. And every day this is where we eat dinner on the deck and where we have some of our rehearsals and get to enjoy this beautiful view over the creek. So we spent just a magical time doing music and everything in Palm. And I have just a few more photos of it for you. For example, here's a photo of the chickens. The reason this found its way in there is because I was staying in a little cabin on the back of the property next to the chicken coop. And every morning it was my job to feed the chickens and collect the eggs. It was a nice way to spend every morning for a couple of weeks. Here's our friend Carla's beautiful property. There's a nice pond. You can see the deck where we would go hiking around that every day. At the end of the week, we would always play concerts. For example, here's a shot from a concert in the little Palm Community Hall. This is the Sierra Quartet. They were the quartet in residence during the first week of June. Here they are playing a Bartok movement. You'll notice in this photo they have all put their bows down. They play this entire Bartok movement pizzicato, where they're plucking the strings. So anyway, I thought that was a nice photo. Here's another shot of them in the community hall. You can see some of the local folks there enjoying the music. Here's a photo from another one of our venues. This is the beautiful art museum in Eureka, California. It's called the Morris Graves Museum of Art. Beautiful acoustics there. It's one of these old Carnegie libraries that was built in the early 20th century. Beautiful place for music. Here we are back on the farm. That's our dear friend Stephen, a wonderful violist, and sometimes he likes to dance when the colors are lighting up the sunset. Here, a concert we played in the woods near Coffee Creek, California, on this little stage. It was a beautiful stage. You can see we were just surrounded by pine trees. They didn't have a Steinway. I had to take the electric piano out there, but you know what? It made up for that in ambiance. Here's our friend James studiously playing his cello, and here's a whole group of 6 of them playing some Tchaikovsky. Is one of our last concerts there. So anyway, that was just a nice way to, I think, start our program here, just to give some people who probably haven't seen what we actually do in the Trinity Alps, see sort of the backstage look at all that. I've got a couple more that I'll show later, but for now I'd like to turn to some music and to introduce you all to my 2 colleagues who are joining me here. As I said, my name is Ian Scarfe, and I'll be handling the piano side of things today. Joining me on the cello is our friend Charles Akert. Charlie is originally from Fairbanks, Alaska. He and I met in 2006 here in San Francisco. We both came here in 2006 to do a graduate program at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. And we've been playing together pretty much ever since. We've been playing all kinds of musical adventures. Just recently, Charlie moved back to his hometown of Fairbanks, and he got his pilot's license. So if you ever find yourself in Alaska in need of a bush pilot, well, now you know who to call. He also can play the cello for you. Yeah, exactly. Joining us on the clarinet is James Pytko. James originally from Long Island, New York. He's been here in the Bay Area. He lives in Oakland, actually, and he plays with so many different wonderful orchestras around the Bay Area, including the San Francisco Ballet and the Opera, and including numerous other orchestras in the area. And well, we just had so much fun, rehearsing last week that we needed to share this music. So we're going to do it here for you now. We're going to start the program with 3 pieces by the German composer Max Bruch. These are wonderful works. They're in a very romantic style. Let's see here, just making sure of a couple settings before I go on. Yeah, we look good, looks good, looks good. Let's see. Okay, these 3 pieces are from a set by Max Bruch, and they are well, the first one of them I like to think of as a good beginning. It opens up sort of an adventure or a story that's being told, and it introduces the instruments one by one. We each kind of have our own little melody before we start playing together in chamber music. The second of these pieces is a little more agitated, full of this kind of tumultuous, this rippling piano part, and then these lines in the cello and the clarinet that are just full of this kind of romantic yearning, all this passion, bottled up. The third of these pieces we'll play for you is called a Romanian Melody. It starts with an extended cello solo. The cello kind of embodies that Romanian sort of peasant folk song attitude. The piano does the accompaniment with all of these kind of rolled chords. And that sort of rippling rolled chord makes me feel like I'm playing like a auto harp or a zither or one of those kind of again, like a folk-like instrument. So we hope you enjoy these 3 pieces by Max Bruch. Thank you all so much again for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. How nice. A little applause over the Zoom. Thank you. Applause is like spiritual sustenance for us musicians. Thank you so much. All right, we hope you enjoyed. That was three pieces by the German composer Max Bruch. Those are just a great example of his, I think, late romantic style. Next, while my colleagues take just a short break, I wanted to share just some other fun stuff from this festival. I have a couple of little videos I wanted to share with you as well. These will show you. Well, the first one is a video that I took myself. I told you earlier, when I showed you that photo of the view of Hayam Palm Valley. Sometimes we had rehearsals there. Well, I have a little video of one of our rehearsals. I should preface this by saying this was the first time this group had ever read through this music together. So it's by no means, a performance that they would have wanted me maybe to. They wouldn't want me to advertise it as a performance. It's definitely something that's kind of fun to watch because it's them reading it for the first time. But in this beautiful setting, you'll see that, as the only member of the ensemble who wasn't required to be there in the rehearsal, there was no piano in this particular music. That meant that I was in charge of babysitting our friend Carla and Jacob's two little daughters. So I was wandering around in the garden with them while this rehearsal of Mozart's Clarinet Concerto was going on. So I hope you enjoy a little Mozart in the garden. Oh, Rose.
It's as long as that. Okay, whatever. Let's start playing.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
Too far from the garden, or the ogre will smell us and come after us.
Yeah. So you get just a little window into rehearsals outside on the deck. It was just a beautiful, beautiful scene. Then I'll share with you one more video. This is another one. This is a video also of the Mozart Clarinet Concerto, but this is one of our performances on that outdoor stage in Coffee Creek, California. So here's a little bit more Mozart for you. right. Bravo, everyone.
Woohoo!
Yeah, exactly. That was the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival players, and the clarinet soloist was our friend Carla Avila. Carla lives in Hayam Palm herself. She also went to the San Francisco Conservatory with many of us, and she and her husband Jacob went to the festival maybe 9 years ago. And they arrived at the music festival, and we were doing our rehearsals and stuff. And the two of them looked around, and they said, "We love this place. We want to live here." And everyone sort of smiled and said, "Yeah, we all feel that way." But then, sure enough, they did it. They moved right there, and they have a homestead, and they're raising their two children in that beautiful part of the world. So anyway, that was another little sort of behind the scenes look at the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival. A kind of a fun way to use these Zoom programs, and to have them a little more interactive. I'm going to return to the stage view here, the stage view of my living room, covered in cables and microphones and so on. And we're going to, Charlie and James and I are going to next play a piece by Johannes Brahms. This is one of the great pieces of music that was ever written for this combination of instruments. Brahms was, one of the great romantic composers. He wrote this in the 1890s. It's very much at the end of his career, one of the last pieces he wrote. Brahms discovered the clarinet rather late in his life. Well, that's not to say discovered. I mean, he always knew about the clarinet. Clarinets play in his symphonies and in his concertos and so on. But he was inspired to write chamber music for the clarinet, when he met a clarinetist, a man named Richard Mühlfeld. And this Mühlfeld fellow must have been an incredible clarinetist, because Brahms was kind of just smitten with the sound of the instrument, and it sort of brought him out of retirement in a way, to keep writing music. This trio, blends this unique voice of the clarinet with the cello, and especially in Brahms's writing, I think the cello takes on a sort of a depth and a richness, to the sound that really kind of balances the lyrical sort of almost soprano voice of the clarinet at times. And then the piano part is also very rich. It's Brahms's style is already very rich, but it's we were remarking in rehearsals that actually when I play this trio, I end up moving my bench a couple inches to the left. And that's because I end up spending more time on these bass notes down here. And so I actually just move my whole body down. So I'm not even sitting at the center of the piano. I'm a little bit left of center, just because so much of the music is down on the lower part of the piano. Anyway, that's kind of an insider's scoop. You don't need to know that. But I think now that you know that, you might listen to this and say, wow, that is actually a really bass heavy, a really rich piano part too. This trio is in 4 movements. It's in the key of A minor, so it is mostly rather serious in its tone and sometimes dark and melancholy. But, Brahms is one of those composers who rarely does he stay in one mood or one affect for very long. So there are moments of whimsy and comedy and sort of moments of smiles in the midst of all of this sort of drama that's unfolding. Like I said, it's a piece that's in 4 movements. The first movement is very wild, very intense. The second movement, much more peaceful and slow. The third movement is a German dance that has this almost waltz-like swing to it, a little bit of a German drinking song, like you can see Charlie swinging his Bierstein around. And then the last movement returns to A minor with this very serious tone. It is a beautiful, beautiful work, one of Brahms's last compositions, and one of our favorites. So we hope you enjoy the trio in A minor, opus 114 by Johannes Brahms. I just want to remind folks, at the end of our programs, we usually have some time for discussion and for questions and comments. So if anything comes to you, hold that in your mind, and at the end we'll have a little chance for a discussion or time to share questions. Okay, so until then, we're going to buckle in here and tackle this Brahms. I have a couple of questions in my own.
That's really the end.
You turned the sound on.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you. That was the great trio by Johannes Brahms, Opus 114, the trio in A minor. Thank you all. Thank you, Charlie, on the cello. Thank you, Mr. Jimmy Pytko, on the clarinet. That's a piece we started rehearsing 2 weeks ago, and well, our rehearsals and our concerts were interrupted, but today we got it right back together. Nice job, guys. So as promised, you know, at the end of our program, I'm going to switch my camera back to the computer cam here, and might as well just switch this back over too. This way I don't have to use the microphone. All right, well, thank you all again. As promised, we have a little time here at the end to have a little live time for a question and answer, or if anyone wants to share comments or, you know, questions for James or for Charlie here. You know, as long as we're in the same Zoom room, we might as well take advantage of it. If you'd like, you can type something into the chat. It's a nice way, you know, when it's a large crowd to share information, questions, comments. Or if you like, you can unmute yourself and just say hi and ask a question or leave a comment for one of us. Someone's got to start.
I got a comment.
Yeah.
Ian?
Is that our friend Randall? Hi.
Yeah, hi. Stunning performance. You know, the three totally unique sounding instruments that just blended together so well. I mean, Charles, it's great to see you. And is it Jim?
James, yeah.
James on the clarinet. I mean, two totally different instruments, but you blended together so well and then contrasted so well. I mean, it's a brilliant composition too. You must have had lots of fun working on it.
It is one of the best pieces, really.
Yeah. We always comment that every time, like, we've never performed this together, but every time you play this piece, you notice like little details. And even now, we've all played this however many times, and you still like find something. And you're like, wait a second, play that again.
That so
what is
good.
that?
Yeah.
So it's like rediscovering it every time. It's amazing. Yeah.
That comes through in the music, your own exploration of it and enjoyment of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Randall. And that ties nicely into Natalie's question of how long we rehearsed this Brahms together. The three of us together, we started rehearsals on Monday, and we rehearsed maybe 1, 2, 3.
We did 3 days.
We did 3 days.
Yeah.
We did 3 days of rehearsals at the farm. And then we had to stop because there was COVID happening and we had to isolate and we separated. And then we got back together today. And so that was 3 days of rehearsal and then a 10-day break. And then here we are
20
back
minutes before
sitting down and playing. But I think the reason why we can get away with that, you know, that's a pretty streamlined rehearsal process. The reason we can get away with that is because all three of us have lots of experience with this piece of music. You know, for example, I've probably played it with maybe 20 different groups. You know, a lot of them were with Charlie, but different clarinetists. A lot of them were with other cellists and different clarinetists, you know. So, you know, that's just me. I'm sure you've played this.
Just played it a couple months ago in Fairbanks.
You played it a couple months ago with a different group in Fairbanks. You played the piece.
We played it a little while ago.
Yeah, we played it last year with a different cellist. You know, so, you know, it's one of these pieces that's just so, you know, and the amazing thing is, like, I've played it that many times, and I still look forward to the next time I'm going to do it because it's that good. You know, it just doesn't get old. In fact, it keeps getting better. Like Charlie said, we're still discovering little details in it that are inspiring us. So that's good. It's good music, that Brahms. I see another question about the music festival. One thing that I should have mentioned early on is that this concert, like all of the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival concerts since 2011, since we started, is open to the public on a suggested donation scale. And that's kind of amazing that 12 years we've been doing this kind of different model for tickets. So instead of selling tickets at a certain cost, we invite everyone to just enjoy the music and then to set their own ticket price, essentially. So part of my job as the director is to ask you all listening if you could take a moment tonight and just consider the value of this music that we're playing, of supporting musicians like James and Charlie, of an organization like this that makes, classical music available to people. Think of what that's worth to you and make a contribution. Choose your own ticket price. The easiest way to do that is at the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival website, which I'm typing into the chat. It's easy to find. TrinityAlpsCMF.org. I hope you will all make some sort of donation in support of these incredible musicians. I see some other great questions in the chat, but does anyone want to unmute themselves and speak up too? I've been talking enough. Well, I see Jean Laprise has said, thank you for the great performance. Richard and Jane ask if you can play the cello while flying the airplane. You have to get a special license for that?
There's only one way to find out, Jane. You gotta come find out.
I have to go to Alaska and he'll have a cello.
Our parents are on the line there. They're not happy with this kind of conversation.
I would say absolutely not, Natalie. I'm a pilot too, and you definitely don't do anything but fly the airplane.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Natalie, Natalie, I'll connect you with Charlie. You guys can swap some stories. I'm sure you'll have some.
Instead of an autopilot, I have an auto cello that I turn on during the flight, and that takes care of the music portion of the flight. So it's good.
Oh, nice. Let's see. Anything else? Anyone else want to? Chris says, Jimmy, are you feeling better after being sick?
Thank you. Yes, I am feeling better. Thank you. A thumbs up all the way, obviously. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for asking.
Good.
It's a rough week there.
Yeah. COVID sort of takes it out of you. So the exhaustion was the main part to me. Just couldn't do anything. Yeah. I just climbed back in bed.
Well, I just thought because he has a wind instrument, it would be a little tough.
Yeah,
I'm feeling pretty much 100%. So thank you for asking though. Yeah. It was a little hard at first, but like it was okay. Yeah.
Back in the seat. Good.
Yeah. Both James and I had COVID, and we are now symptom free for several days, symptoms free, and we both tested negative, which feels like a real great accomplishment. Yeah.
So what did Charlie eat that he didn't get it?
Exactly. That's what I want to know.
Garlic or something?
Yeah. A little Pfizer garlic, a little Moderna.
That's right. I was socially distancing myself very well, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, the masks matter. Don't stop wearing the mask around other people who aren't too careful.
Yeah, I hope everyone stays safe. I do not wish that upon anyone here.
The amazing thing is that, I was sitting across from James that whole week, and I'm like shocked that the clarinet didn't
Yeah, we had several people who were in very close contact who didn't get sick. So good job, vaccines. Way to help us out.
Pretty amazing.
That saved some people there. All right. Well, does anyone have anything else for Charlie or for James or I? It has been just a real pleasure sharing some music with you all and some conversation as well. So don't forget if you have anything else you want to chime in with.
Ian, one last question, not to take anything away from this fabulous performance, but what do you have up your sleeve? What's coming up next?
Good question. We are planning some rescheduled concerts in Northern California, in Redding and Eureka and Weaverville. Those will be in August. We're gonna come up and play some live in-person concerts to sort of make up for a little bit of what we lost this month. So keep an eye out if you live up in North State, California. We'll hopefully see you in August. And then looking ahead into our 12th season and next year into our 13th season, we have also some great plans of bringing other musicians out from all over the world to come to Northern California and do some great music. One of my dreams is to do Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring, a work for 13 instruments, a 13-instrument orchestra with Aaron Copland's famous Appalachian Spring. So that's on my radar. There is a Wild West chamber opera set in the Gold Rush of Colorado. I'm hoping we can do a small chamber opera in an old Gold Rush saloon in Lewiston. So, we got things up our sleeves. So if you want to stay in the loop, the best way to do that is through the email list. You can find that on the website. I already plugged the website. So if you haven't yet, go visit that. Don't forget to make a nice donation to help us keep supporting musicians like this during times like these.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Well, in closing, would you please go ahead and unmute yourselves and give our special musicians today one more round of applause. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thanks, everybody. Wonderful. You clap for myself.
Yeah.
You guys. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Bravo, bravo.
Bravi, bravi.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.